Hey guys, Austin here, and welcome back to another Pixelmon discussion video here on the channel. I figured it's about time we covered this topic. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this a lot, but never as its own video. But today we're going to be talking about the differences between the regular Pokemon game and Pixelmon as a mod for Minecraft, and at the end we will determine which one is better, so stay tuned for that, and let's get right into this. So, first thing before we get started, I wanted to say I have played all of the majority of the new games, minus Sword and Shield, and I've also experienced them through like YouTube videos, etc. And I've played Pixelmon since like 2012 also, so I think I've been a good understanding of both equally. And this isn't meant to be me hating on one or the other or blah blah blah, so you guys are welcome to leave your feedback in the comments down below, but don't turn this into just a war between people that only play the regular games versus people that play like additional Pokemon games like this game or etc. But yeah, let's get right into this with the most common thing that both things have. I'll try to list up everything that both have in common from the bat, and then we'll go to the pros and cons of each. But obviously, the thing that both games have right off the bat is gyms. I can just tell you right now, the gyms are probably the biggest, most common thing that I'm kidding, by the way. I just happened to run into this. I didn't even know this could spawn in the swamp biome, so this is just kind of random and funny. But anyway, no, Pokemon. Pokemon itself. The ability to play, catch, train, experience just the Pokemon in your world. That is something that is in both Pixelmon and Pokemon and always has been. Now, the differences apply to how things sort of go throughout the world. The original Pokemon games were top-down views of Pokemon, and you ran to the patch grass and you encounter random Pokemon. In the newer Pokemon games like Arceus or Scarlet and Violet, you can now kind of just do what Pixelmon has always done, which is free roam and see the Pokemon in the world for what they are. You can tell if they're shiny from the bat. You don't have to like randomize generate until you get what you want. So that has been a thing. I remember when Arceus first came out, a lot of people were upset about that because they were saying, oh, this isn't traditional Pokemon. I can actually see them now. It's like, okay, but that's, you know what I mean? And it's funny because Pixelmon has always been like that because it's Minecraft, right? You can see the stuff in Minecraft. It's a first-person viewed game. You can see everything. I don't have to run through the grass like this and wait for a Pokemon encounter to happen. If that's how they would have done it, that would have been, in my opinion, horrible. I like the idea of actually seeing the models in the world roaming around and you can interact with them. And like I said, that's how the regular games now work too. So that's another thing. Items, the items all are the exact same. They work the exact same. Your Pokeballs, your berries, your everything. The only difference would be that in Minecraft, you can actually plant the berries and apricorn trees anywhere you want in your world, whereas in the Pokemon games, you normally had to go to specific areas to plant berries, etc. So that's where the differences may lead there. Also, in the regular games, you don't actually make the Pokeballs, you go and buy them, whereas in Pixelmon, you can both make and buy them depending on what you feel like doing. You can go to the shopkeepers and just buy Pokeballs if you want, or you can actually craft them yourself through mining, getting materials, etc. So that's a thing as well. And I'm pretty sure that's all there is for the similarities. Like I said, all the Pokemon kind of work the same way. I get a few comments like this a lot. Are Pokemon stat changed differently in Pixelmon, or are they the same? I'm pretty confident that they're the exact same stats as they are in the regular games. Like there's no, oh, I just made this stat overpowered because I like this Pokemon. I'm pretty sure all Pokemon in Pixelmon have the exact same stats as they do in the regular games. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's how that is. Why would they change the stats? That would just be weird. But for some reason, a lot of people tell me that. So I don't know if it's true or not. I don't think it is, though. Anyway, we're coming up to another grass gym. These grass gyms are everywhere. It's so funny. Obviously, let's talk about now just regular Pokemon games. And I'm going to mostly talk about Scarlet and Violet because that is the newest iteration of the Pokemon game. That is Nintendo Game Freak Pokemon Company's most, like that's their most, this is the game that has everything we want in it that has in it. So I'm going to use that as the baseline. The ability to ride Pokemon. In Scarlet and Violet, you can, of course, mount Koraidon or Miraidon. But you can also do that in Pokemon as well, or in Pixelmon, sorry. So that's a bit of a comparison, but of course Koraidon and Miraidon are the only two you can actually ride in that game, whereas in older Pokemon games like Sun and Moon, you could actually mount a few different Pokemon and use their different unique abilities to traverse the world. Whereas now in Pixelmon, you can do that with mostly any Pokemon that can fly, any Pokemon that can be on land that looks rideable. Most of the time you can ride them. But in terms of if it's beneficial to you, there's not much benefit to riding a Pokemon in Pixelmon besides just getting from point A to point B quicker. Whereas in the regular Pokemon games, you actually had to use them to like break down walls, etc. So that could be a key difference there. Now, in Scarlet and Violet, of course, it has the upper hand on Pixelmon right now, just in terms of Pokemon, because it has the new Gen 9 Pokemon, as you guys may or may not know. Pixelmon is slowly adding in the Gen 9 Pokemon. They've added quite a few at this point. I think about 10, 15, 20 different Pokemon, because there's the starters, Tadbulb, Earthworm, Tadbulb's line, Earthworm, one or two more that are slipping from my mind right now, but you guys get the picture. And of course Pixelmon is still adding more. They're not done. They actually have a new update planned very soon that's going to be adding a ton of new features and updates to the game, which I of course will be reviewing. So if you guys haven't done so already, consider subscribing. Anyway, back to the discussion. Now, I think that in terms of stability, Pixelmon has the upper hand, because if you guys don't know or haven't played, Scarlet and Violet was pretty much a flop off of launch based on just the performance issues. Like, everything was super laggy, everything, and this is supposed to be like their main game, right? It was super laggy, there was a lot of crash bugs. They have released a few patch updates since, but there are still inconsistencies and there's still people having issues, so you know what I mean? Whereas in Pixelmon, they may have bugs that occur, but you don't join the game and immediately it's like you're at 2 frames a second unless you're on a bad PC, but that's not the game's fault, you know what I mean? There's a difference between it being you have a low-grade PC that just can't run the mod or the game versus Nintendo where you're playing on the Nintendo Switch, which is supposed to be the thing running the game, and it can't run the game, you know what I mean? That is the key difference there. Whereas in this, the mod is, like, you're already paying the money for that, you know what I mean? You're paying for the Switch, you paid for the Switch, you paid for the game. Whereas in Minecraft, you paid for Minecraft, which was, what, max $30, depending on the time that you bought it. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I only paid $5 for Minecraft when it came out in, like, 2010, 2011, when I bought it. Not when it came out, but for me when I bought it, I'm trying to say. And then in the regular Pokemon company's eyes, you're paying, you know, $60, $70 for the game, plus the Switch if you didn't own it before. So that's a lot of money for it not to work, you know what I mean? But again, that's not me trying to just direct hate towards them. I'm just drawing comparisons here, because that's the point of this video, is comparing the two. And I know there's going to be people that say, well, you're never going to exactly capture the charm of Pokemon in a different mod, in a different game. I understand that. But I'm trying to point out, like, if you were to play one or the other, which truly would you prefer, just based on the core Pokemon aspect itself? Now, let's talk about a few flaws in Pixelmon right now. As you guys know, they used to have a bunch of gyms. Right now, they currently only have 3 gyms in the game. They are planning on adding more. It's not like they're done. Keep that in mind. But right now, as we have to look at it as a standing, like, what's in the mod right now, they have 3 gyms that you can take on. They are pretty difficult. There are battle towers that are pretty difficult that you could take on. There are battle arenas, which are kind of like medium scale difficulty that you can take on. All that stuff is in this mod, whereas in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you have the 8 gyms that you can only do once. Then there is the Champion Tour, the Elite Four, which I believe you can only do once, actually. I haven't tried, but I've been told I think you can only do it once, because the new, like, repeatable final thing is the Champion Tournament thing that you do at the school. And I've done that a few times. And that's kind of like your Elite Four battle, where you're just fighting the teachers randomly and stuff. That is the thing. But that's kind of it. Whereas in Pokemon, or in Pixelmon, you can constantly go into new towns, find new generated teams. Even if I were to fight the same gyms over and over again, I'm pretty sure the gyms have randomized teams. to a certain extent. Like, you can encounter different things every time, and it can play out differently, which is nice. And I always was a fan of being able to fight the same thing multiple times. Oh, look, we're coming out on Mount Lanakila. I love how I keep finding this biome when I do these discussion videos, but I never can in a survival world setting. Anyone else feel that way? I feel that way. For those who don't know, Mount Lanakila is currently the only modded biome in the overworld that can generate, that's Pixelmon specific. It's where you can capture the Christmas Pokemon. Anyway, I'm getting off topic though. But yeah, Scarlet and Violet has a lot of replayability, but in terms of like fighting the gyms, you can only do it once. Whereas in this game, you could just go and find another copy of the same gym if you wanted to fight the gym again, you know what I mean? Which is nice. And of course, the rewards you would be getting are the same. It would be as if you were playing the game on New Game Plus, so to speak. Whereas regular Pokemon games have never really done New Game Plus. They have the extra expansion at the end, or now the DLC expansion, sure. But they've never really allowed you just to go back and fight everything again as if you've never fought it before. I know there's like certain items and stuff that get unlocked in post-game where you can like re-challenge trainers and stuff. But you know what I mean? That's more tedious than anything versus it just being like, you can keep fighting these guys as much as you want. And like I said, I know there's a balancing issue argument there that you could make. Whereas, oh, that's overpowered that you can keep fighting the same thing. Yeah, I get that. But the point of Pokemon at its core is to level up, train, evolve a full team of 6. Then you get a new team and you train them again. You train more Pokemon. And in the regular Pokemon games, you can only do that to a certain extent where it becomes like boring. Whereas I feel in Pixelmon, it's so diverse, the amount of things you can do to, not the amount of things, but like the way that you can level up and train your Pokemon. It's always different. You can always encounter new things. And let's come down to just the sheer number of Pokemon. So sure, Scarlet and Violet has the highest number that a Pokemon game has ever had. I think it's like 400 and something unique Pokemon. Whereas in Pixelmon, I don't know if you guys know this, but they have all generations 1 to 8 flat. Like every Pokemon you can encounter at any point in time, as long as you go to the biomes that they appear in, that you can encounter any of the Pokemon. There is no limitation. All the forms, all the everything you can encounter. In the regular Pokemon games like Scarlet and Violet, you can only encounter so much. And I know they're going to be adding DLC, which adds in another unique, I think, 170-something Pokemon from the older games and stuff. But you know what I mean? In my opinion, at the point that we're at right now, I think that they can release a game that just has all the Pokemon in it from the start. All the old Pokemon. I'm not saying, like, come up with another 800 new Pokemon, but you know what I mean? I think we're at that point now where they could, and you could, and if you're going to use the argument of, well, I don't know, that might be too much memory for the game, that might be too much. Guys, if a third-party mod for a game that, in my opinion, takes up way less resources than a Pokemon game might, then again, they don't make the Pokemon games for the console, so we can't really say, but you know what I mean. I think they can handle it. I think they can make it work. It's up to them if they just want to stop putting their games on tiny devices that can't run anything more than a phone could. You know what I mean? No, speaking of, is that a... Oh, wait, that's a Go-Goat. I thought that was a Belly Bolt. Sorry. But yeah. It's like I said, it's more comes down to preference. It comes down to just what would you prefer. Like I said, I've played both. I enjoy both. But if I were to pick either, I would pick... Oh, that's a boss, Vivian. I would pick Pixelmon just because, one, it's constantly updating. They're not tethered by a big business telling them when or when not they can't post updates and do stuff. You know what I mean? Like, if Pixelmon had a bug that was causing you to crash while doing raids or you know, desyncing your connection and stuff, that would have been patched the next week. Whereas Scarlet and Violet took, what, 2 months to put out their first patch that was fixing stuff? That's like why? Just force the patch. I get that you want to add more stuff in the patch, but the idea is making the game playable, not, oh, well, we need to wait so we make it feel like a full content patch. Like, no, just post a patch really quickly. Anyway, yeah, that's a thing. Obviously, I know we've actually been on like a month, almost 2-month hiatus now with Pixelmon not having an update out, but again, I don't know if you guys knew this, but back in the day, like two plus years ago, Pixelmon only updated like every 8 months to years. It took sometimes for an update to come out. It was very rare that it would happen, but when it would happen, it would be crazy. Now they've been kind of rapid firing the updates, which I actually appreciate more. One, as a content creator, because I get to make videos. Two, I like the idea of just constantly having updates. And you could say, well, what happens when Pixelmon adds in all the Generation 9? Are they just done? Well, in terms of adding Pokemon from the main game, sure, but I don't know if you guys know this, but Pixelmon has more unique Pokemon than the Pokemon game does itself. They have, and I'm going to list as many as I can think of, Ashen forms, Pink forms, Spirit forms, Ghost forms, Zombie forms, Drowned forms. And again, if I'm listening to these names, you've never heard of them, then you haven't been playing Pixelmon enough. A lot of these have been in the game for a while now. Obviously, the shiny Pokemon, which is normal. And they are, I believe, this is still just, I think, a rumor, but I have a weird, strong feeling that they're going to be adding custom Paradox Pokemon even in the future. I could be wrong about that, but it's not without the realm of possibility of them doing it, considering if they're okay with adding different just color palettes to Pokemon and calling them different forms, they for sure can create their own Paradox Pokemon, because Paradox Pokemon, I think, is the... Just to give a good thumbs up to Scarlet and Violet, I think that was the best invention they could have ever done. Because instead of doing the typical Mega Evolution thing, which they have done also with Terrestrialization, it's the next Mega thing, they also incorporate a new way of just adding new forms to any Pokemon without it feeling like a massive monster on the team. Sure, it gives them basically the stats of a legendary Pokemon, but that's besides the point. The idea of a prehistoric or futuristic Pokemon variant of your favorite Pokemon that just looks slightly different, have their own unique movesets and stuff is just... I love the idea. I love the concept. I know some people are torn with it because they're like, oh, robots are blah. Well, guess what? We've had robots since Porygon existed, which was Gen 1. That's a robot. Magnemite is a robot. Regardless of what you want to think or say, those are robots. And before you say, well, those are unique design, you're just fooling yourself. If you're gonna complain about one thing but not address the other thing, that's the exact same thing. It's just the new way of showing it. You can dislike it if you want, but you can't say, oh, well, that's a dumb design. It's not. I mean, sure, you can think it's dumb, but you can't say it's dumb that the company is running out of ideas, because that's not true, because clearly it was a success. People wouldn't have bought the games or played the games if it wasn't good, if they didn't think it was going to be good. And like I said, I love the designs of some of the Paradox forms. Anyway, off that topic, I'm going to try to wrap this video soon because I don't want this to become an over 20-minute video. I doubt you guys are even watching to this point. Hey, if you guys are watching this point, comment down below I watched to this point, just so I get sort of a reading of how much you actually care to listen to me to this point, so I can gauge how long I should make discussion videos in the future. But yeah, overall, wrapping it up, both games have their own merits. They have their own pros and cons to them, for sure, and you're welcome to play either or both. That's completely okay too. Now, my opinion, if I were to pick, like I said, I think I would go with Pixelmon, especially after they have finished, after they've added as many gyms as they plan on adding, after they've added all the Gen 9 Pokemon to catch up to the current standard. Once they have all the Pokemon in, all the gyms they want, and they start working on, which I believe they're going to work on, like Elite Four and stuff, I would imagine. It'll be amazing once they tweak the battling, once they tweak the quest system that is currently in the game, once they make it all as polished as they possibly can without any company telling them you can't do this yet, wait till the next game. It'll be amazing. And I honestly do think that this mod is going to update to 1.19 very soon. I don't think it's going to happen in the next few updates, but I think by the end of the year, we will see this mod in the most recent version of Minecraft, possibly even 1.20. I don't know 1.20 is supposed to come out, but you know what I mean. So that'll be its own treat delivered to us as well. But either way, if you guys enjoyed my rambling this long, if you enjoyed this topic, consider leaving a like on this video, subscribing if you are new, comment down below your thoughts, feelings, opinions on this. And, of course, if you want to check out some other discussions or Fortnite, yeah, sure. If you guys want to check out any Fortnite videos or any other Minecraft videos I've done, Pixelmon videos specifically, top right-hand corner, check them out. Either way, that's going to do it. I hope you all have a great day. Stay safe, everybody. Goodbye.